I am Alexandre Marchetta. I'm French and being the new president of CECE for 2022 and 2023.
Welcome to We Make to Build, a podcast by the Committee for European Construction Equipment, CECE. We are the industry organization representing construction equipment manufacturers towards the European Union institutions. The construction equipment sector, its people, its innovation, its young talent, it's us. We produce advanced machinery to build the future of Europe. CECE Podcast, We Make to Build, is a series of episodes, each focusing on a different topic under the umbrella of our motto, We Make to Build. Welcome to the third episode of the CECE Podcast, We Make to Build. My name is Roma Guziak, I'm the communications manager of CECE, and I'll be your host for this episode. Being involved in CECE for over 6 years now, I had the pleasure of working with different CECE presidents across the years. Each presidency has its own strategy and goals, and I'm curious to find out Alexandre's vision for his term. I hope you are too. Let's dive in. Alexandre, congratulations on becoming the CECE president. Let me start off by asking, how does it feel to have the only surname to hold the CECE presidency twice?
Yeah, I think this is something that has been the first time probably for sure. My father was the president 15 years ago. I must say that today I'm very proud of this new position, of this new role towards our industry. And this shows also something that our industry is capable to host some long-term and privately owned companies which are stable and part of our global economy for a long time. And this is something very important in our values, in our personal values, my dad's ones and mine's. Also, this long-term relations and stability of our company, of our customers, of our global environment, our also competitors, all these the stability of all this economy and all this business.
What was your main motivation to become the CECE president, hence to represent the construction equipment sector in Europe?
I'm very, very glad to be in this chance to represent our industry. We have a lot of challenges to defend and to represent on behalf of all manufacturers. And I will do the best I can during these 2 years to be really neutral and even in the way we can defend the challenges we all have to face. There are the green transition that is clearly a big concern, all the digital development coming more and more with also all the consequences of these new technologies on the machines and the job sites and the environment. There are also some evolutions on the machines directives that are keys also for the future, like for example also the road circulation, that is a topic that is holding on above us since years and has now also to go through. So I will do my best during these 2 years to really support our industry to move on and to achieve some of the necessary evolutions that we have to meet.
That's great to hear, and us, the CECE team, will definitely support you in this. You are finding yourself in the unprecedented situation against the backdrop of the COVID-19 crisis. What are your main goals for the presidency?
Despite all these constant hits, restrictions, increasing of the cost of raw materials, constraints on the supply chain, transportation disruptions, this is all the consequences of what we have been facing since 2 years now with all this worldwide pandemic. Today, I think that we have to move on. We have to move on the key topics our industry is facing. And we cannot only look at the constraints that we are facing today, but really my goal is to say, okay, since 2 years, the situation has been really erratic in our world, has been unpredictable, but anyhow, we have to move on. We have to care also about our future. We have to develop our companies. We have to harmonize our businesses. And this will be my main goal during these 2 years.
You touched upon this already a little bit, but let's discuss the regulatory agenda. We know that 2022 represents a defining moment for the regulatory landscape for our industry. What will be your main focus regarding the EU regulatory agenda for this coming year?
So, for these 2 coming years, I will keep my eyes together with the CECE members on two probably hot topics that are coming now also to some key dates around the machinery regulation and the road circulation. This has been started some years ago already, but now we are coming on the phases that regulation will move on. These two legislations are in different phases, but are already strategic for our industry and harmonization of the European conditions.
Indeed, the machinery regulation and the proposal for a harmonized system of road circulation requirements across the EU will definitely keep us busy this year. Let me just add that together with Alexandre, we will make sure that CECE continues to take part in the discussions with the legislators and inform the debate on what Europe needs to remain a competitive and trustworthy manufacturing bloc. Thank you for tuning into our podcast. Take a moment to visit cece.eu/podcast to listen to other episodes. And now, back to the conversation. In your opinion, what are the main challenges facing European machinery and equipment manufacturers nowadays?
So, as president of the group Make Alike, probably one of the highest pressure in the market today is the sourcing of the key components and the sourcing also of the raw materials. But as president of the CECE, I want to raise the attention on the regulatory burden, most of all when it hits directly the competitivity of the European manufacturers. There is a wave of regulation in the sustainability field, which is not being assessed against the reality of manufacturing, such as the taxonomy on sustainable finance or the upcoming reporting obligations. We are on the right side of the sustainability and the decarbonization fight, but we question choice of instruments to do that. We have a decarbonization position paper which shows a huge contribution made by the construction equipment manufacturers in curbing the emission and leading the way to lower emissions and impact on the environment. As a globally integrated and competitive industry, construction machinery in Europe needs to integrate all this regulatory and compliance costs into a very challenging environment already, when we see also that lots of competitors coming from other worldwide regions don't have that obligations or that constraints.
Talking about challenges in our industry, one of the biggest difficulties facing the equipment industry is the availability of machines related with the problem of supplies, the shortage of components, and the price of raw materials. What assessment do you make of this situation?
I wonder if the question and if the problem is in that sense or the other one. I think that the problem of the supply, the problem of the shortage of the components, of the disruption of the transportation is creating delays in availability of machines, and so it's creating tension on the markets. We can see today that the relaunch plans for all countries all over the world are clearly activating the business for our industry due to a lot of new infrastructure projects. So the need of machines, the need of material is there. It's not something, and we can see that the figures of the market are not neither exploded, but it's a good dynamic after this crisis period. Clearly today the challenge for our industry is to meet our customer needs, is to be capable to produce on time, and is to be capable to go over all these disruptions in the supply chain in general, I would say.
And is there a role for CECE to play?
CECE role in all these has been clearly in orientating and making sure also that all the relaunch plans were also highly dedicated to the infrastructures. And this position has been really well defended by CECE on the European level, with a bit more than 10% of the global EU subsidies being split in the countries, being dedicated to the infrastructures. Now that the activity, that the dynamic is restarting, we have to rebalance our economy, we have to restabilize our supply channels, we have to make sure that we can come to something more smoother than that what we have been facing since 2 years.
Absolutely. And together with a range of experts from national member associations and OEMs, we will monitor the preparation and development of these regulations and voice the opinions of the European construction equipment manufacturers when needed. One of CECE's key priorities is to change the image of the construction equipment sector and to attract the young, skilled workforce to our industry. In your opinion, Alexandre, what should be done to close the skills gap in the construction equipment sector?
This is clearly a topic that is ongoing since years. And it's such a key topic because everything starts with the people being involved in our industry and being motivated to come and join us in our industry. The image of this industry, of our sector, has to improve, but it's improving, and we can see that now since probably at least 20, 25, 30 years, efforts are being done by the organizations like, national and European organizations, by the manufacturers, by the distributors, by our global ecosystem. Efforts are being done constantly to communicate on who is our industry. But this is also true for some other industries. Industries are not so attractive today that they were some decades ago. Everybody really has this in mind. Everybody sees that topic as a key one for tomorrow, to attract some talent, to attract to be more open to new workers in our industry. We are all very proud today and all very happy to see more and more women being in our industries, in our factories, on the job sites, operating the machines. So there is for sure a lot of efforts to be done to grow this recognition of our industry for the young generations as an industry that is offering some good quality of life, that is offering some work, that is offering some stability.
As you said, this is a key topic for our industry. I'm curious what measures are in place in order to attract the workforce to your company.
I was talking at the very beginning of the podcast how proud I am of the stability of our own family company, Mekalak. This is typically one of the values. Bringing stability today to our employees is important. Also offering them some future, some evolution, being capable to grow and to get trained also and educated along their time together with us is something very important. We know also that our industry today has to be open to what the new generations are expected in regards of flexibility of the work, in regards of implication in the company, in regards of the green development concern. All the new generation is so impacted and so sensitive to this to the environmental care that the company can offer. So I think that all of us, we have the responsibility to really push, promote, and show and communicate to the young generations what our industry can offer.
Let me switch gears a little bit, as I would like to talk to you about the upcoming CECE Congress. It has been announced that the next Congress will take place in January 2023 in France. We are all already very excited for the event. Can you tell us more about the French edition of the CECE Congress?
So the CECE Congress, yes, will take place in January 23 in France, and I wanted this Congress to be really a post-COVID event. I wanted to get back to human contacts, to some social and human dimension, and to share a good moment all together. So we have decided to make this event in Chamonix, the village facing the Mont Blanc, and I think it was a good symbol also to hold this CECE Congress facing the highest European mountain for the European Association of Manufacturers. I think it was a good match together that we can always and that we will keep climbing as high as we can, and we will keep growing our industry as high as we can.
It's definitely a great context for our event. The program of the Congress is being developed with the help of the Evolis team, and we will make sure to make this an unforgettable event. Not only because of the location you just described, but also thanks to some unexpected themes we will cover. That is all we can say for now, but I invite everyone to already save the date in your calendars for 19 and 20 January 2023, and more information on the event will follow soon. Thank you very much, Alexandre. It was a pleasure to discuss with you the plans for the next 2 years. I'm sure our listeners have a better idea now of the CECE strategy for your presidential term. Thank you very much for listening. Follow us on social media using #WeMakeToBuild, and until next time. Thank you for listening to our podcast, We Make to Build, produced by the Committee for European Construction Equipment, CECE. Tune in to the rest of the episodes on cece.eu/podcast.